To best explain why I'm shooting today's video, I thought I would use a metaphor, a parable, and, well, no better place than to turn to some ancient literature with some wise words. So let us turn to Matthew chapter 7, starting at verse 24. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose up, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears my words and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who has built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose up, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. The two foundation pieces of all the tops that I make. Every week I'm working on some sort of a project. But what I'm not showing is how behind the scenes I've been tweaking and altering to try to get this basic bodice that's the core of every project just right. But you know what? Enough. This week's video, that's the focus. The only thing left that I have to tweak is the left-hand side. So that would be this way. The left-hand side, it's a little bit small, a little tight around here. I taped together a few of these oversized flyers, and then my first focus was getting that sleeve height just right. So the two versions ago, I had the back piece going down 11. This one, that was from the previous project, I had it going down in a quarter, so that's 3/4. So if I bring that right in the middle, that would put me at 5/8. So yeah, let's go down 10 and 5/8. I also recently purchased myself this here French curve, like this, and that meets up there, something like that, and then there we go, I got a nice curve. With the left sleeve sorted, I copied over the exact measurements for the rest of the back piece. And as you may notice, this side is higher up than this side because my right arm is considerably skinnier than my left. So my patterns are unique to moi. Then I trimmed out the back piece and I moved on to the front where I once again focused on the left-hand side, got that just right, and then copied over the remaining measurements and trimmed it out as well. I also have to resize the sleeve. So I line up those two shoulders. I take my measuring tape and I proceed to walk it out. 19. So quick explanation here for the sleeve. This is where my curve is going to be. It's going to go like this and like that. And the further down this goes, it means the more the sleeve points down and the more shallow my curve is, the more the sleeve sticks out straight. And I've just found that this, based on my many iterations, 5 inches is just right. So I said 19, right? Yeah, and so I divide that by half, that's 9.5. So then I want to draw a line in either direction from this one to this one. But instead of going the full 9.5, because there's going to be a curve, I think I'm going to go about 9. And then I do the same thing in the back. And now something interesting about the front here that I'll show you is I want a deep curve, a fairly deep curve in the front. And the reason I want more of a deep curve is because our arms always bend forward, so we want less in the front and then more fabric in the back. So it arches this way and then it arches this way. And then repeat in the back but with a shallower curve. But now's the real test. I gotta take my tape and now I have to walk it out and make sure that this also measures 19. Okay, I am a half an inch short, 18 and a half. So I grabbed another marker, widened the sleeve just a little bit, and walked it out one more time. Perfect, that's exactly 19 on the money. Then I finished off the rest of the sleeve and trimmed it out. But what good is this pattern if I don't try it? So I grabbed an old bed sheet, did a real basic top, and tried it on. This time we find ourselves in Proverbs chapter 6, starting at verse 6. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer, no ruler, and yet it stores its provisions in the summer and gathers its food at the harvest. How long will you lie there, you sluggard? When will you get up from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come at you like a bandit, and scarcity like an armed man. So, not mincing any words there, essentially telling me that I gotta work hard. I gotta do the things that I want. I don't have to wait for someone to tell me to do it. I gotta get to it. And, well, making these patterns isn't exactly exciting work, but remember that foundation metaphor? Get it right. I gotta do the work. Get to it. Short sleeve is fine, but what about long sleeve? And now I do have this shirt, which I think fits me quite well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the length off of this one. 24 inches. Okay. So my elbow is at about 10 inches. If I sew that at 10 and a half, and then at the bottom, let's say 7 and a half. Okay. And I can just copy the curve at the top because that's going to be the same whether it's short or long sleeve. And then based on the short sleeve that I just pinned down, I transferred over all the measurements I just took a minute ago. Trimmed out the pattern, repeated that whole process for the other sleeve, trimmed it out of some fabric, and then it was time to sew once again. So rather than sew a whole new top, I'm just going to undo this one and then swap out these short sleeves for the long ones. The forearms are too tight. Yeah, just some space in the old forearms. Channeling my inner ant to do this one more time. The elbow, I made it 10 and a half. So I need to add in, I'm going to add in about 1.25 inches. So 5, that's 3/4, 875. So that would be up to here. And because our arms aren't perfectly geometric, I busted out the French curve. Smoothen it out. Curve it a little bit at the bottom as well. I'm going to add in a little bit of a curve at the top too. Kind of goes in a little bit. I don't want, and then around the elbow and then back in at the bottom. And from here, just trim, chiroo. It's a good thing I had plenty of bed sheet to work with. Trimmed out some new sleeves, took out the old ones again, sewed them in, and then another fit test. Yeah, do that. Yeah, I like that. You know what? That fits quite well. I'm pleased with it. I'm pleased with it for now. I think, right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I guess this is all, that's all I got to show for today's efforts. Like the ant, my crop has been harvested. So, this will pay dividends down the road. Full of wisdom. Let's see what else we can find. Oh, here we go. Deuteronomy, chapter 22. Let's start off at verse number 23. It's got to be good. If a man happens to meet in a town a virgin pledged to be married and sleeps with her, you shall take both of them to the gate of that town and stone them to death. Bit much. The girl, because she was in a town and did not scream, victim blaming? And the man, because he violated another man's wife, not a possession? You must purge the evil from among. Okay, you know what? No one's perfect. Times have changed. Let's skip over. Let's see what else we can find. Okay. Leviticus. That sounds like a fun name. Chapter 20. And then let's read 13. If a man lies with a man as one lies with a woman, and both of them have done what is detestable, they must be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads. What is with all the murder, stabby, kill? Yeah.